Let's learn how to make some scenic glue. Hey guys, Tom here, and this is Not So Average Builder. This is the first video I'm making where I'm a new man. Yep, I got married. For those of you who don't know, I posted about it on social media. I was pretty excited about it. So you're going to see this video was kind of shot. Some of it was before I got married and some of it's after I got married. So it is going to look a little weird. You're going to see the ring on the finger in later parts of the video and earlier parts not. So that understands that. And a couple of the videos that I've done up to this point also have some non-ring, some ring, because I'm sure I'll get that question as well. But the reason why I'm bringing this video to light is because I'm going to use this stuff on the Alex diorama, and I wanted to go ahead and show you guys how to make it. It is pretty simple. Just 3 ingredients. You need Mod Podge, water, and a couple of drops of dish soap, and you are set. This stuff can be brushed, sprayed, and you'll see examples of both of those. It locks your details onto the kit. Now, I did realize, and I don't know why I just realized it, but I used the gloss Mod Podge, and I should have used the matte. So the bottle that you need to have should look like this. The gloss is an orange label, so make sure you grab the matte. Don't do what I did. It doesn't like to work, so I'm probably going to have to redo this. I hope not, but there's a possibility. The gloss doesn't like to stick as well as the matte does. Before we get into that though, I want to say if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It would be awesome by the end of the year to get to 1,000 subs. If I do that, I'll jump for joy, and I'll probably give a kit away because it's 1,000 subs. Why not? But without further ado, let's jump right into this. Alright, to make this stuff, you will need your Mod Podge. Don't use what I used. Make sure it is the matte. The gloss leaves a film. You'll need your container to hold all of your mixture in. You'll need some water, and you'll need a little mixing cup. You don't have to use the exact size that I used, and it doesn't even have to have measurements on it, but make sure you get something that you can measure out a mark and pour it in there. And as far as the soap goes, don't matter the brand, just use some regular dishwashing liquid. Now what I did is I didn't even use all of the Mod Podge in the container. I wasn't worried about scraping it out because my overall container wasn't big enough. So I just poured it up to a certain point, and you're going to take a marker and you're going to mark the top line where the Mod Podge ends. And that makes life a lot easier when adding your other parts, which is the 3 parts water. Then you pour that into your final container. Scrape out as much of the Mod Podge as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can get it with the water. Once you get that out, you're going to start adding your 3 parts water. Now the water container that I had was a little less by volume than what this cup was, so I do have to make some jump cuts here to kind of finish it out. But you're going to do this 3 times, and each time that you pour water in there, you want to make sure that you scrape the sides of the container that you poured the Mod Podge in originally, and that helps to get all of that stuff out there, so you keep an equal ratio of 1 parts Mod Podge to 3 parts water. Now as far as the dish soap goes, it didn't work the way I thought it was going to. My drops weren't really drops, they were kind of drop streams, but it worked out just fine. Now make sure you stir this stuff up really, really good before you put it in anything. And when you go to use it, after you've let it sit, give it a stir before you use it, because the Mod Podge will try and settle on the bottom and you won't have a good time. And that is the entirety of how to make scenic glue. It is super, super easy. Remember, it is 1 part Mod Podge, 3 parts water, and 3 drops of dish soap. Now we're going to brush this stuff on. This is example number 1. Take it straight from the pot, brush it over top of that. You want to do it on a painted surface just to hide any imperfections that you may not do with the next process. But that's simple. Once that stuff, you get it coated on there, nice thick layer, take your spray can lid, and you're going to take some grout and dirt. In this case I only used grout, and you're going to sift it on there using a stocking as a cover. This is pretty simple stuff. Once this dries, then we're going to move on to spraying. And how we do that, use isopropyl alcohol, or you can use wet water. It's a mixture of soap and water, and it just allows the scenic glue to penetrate down deep and actually lock in the stuff. And once you let this stuff dry, that's when you can do this. So I've given this ample time to dry. You wet it with some isopropyl alcohol or the wet water, and that just allows the scenic glue to penetrate the surface. And you will need something that sprays a little finer mist than what I've got, but spray it over top of that and don't miss any spots. Make sure it is completely covered, and that will lock in that top layer. Now you want to make sure that you pull off all the excess. I didn't, and I did have a bit of a white milky texture in some spots, but as long as you get all the excess off, you will be golden. Not only can be used for scenery like that, you can brush it on, you can spray it on. If you need to add a little bit more, you can use a dropper and drop it on for bigger areas. It works amazing. It is wonderful stuff. I suggest you pick up some Mod Podge and some spray bottles. I would probably use a little bit better than what I've got. You need a finer mist than what these bottles, but I got these at Walmart for dirt cheap, so I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of them. As far as the amount of alcohol or percentage, I'm using 91% isopropyl. It works just fine. But make sure your bottle says matte. I screwed up and I picked up a bottle of the gloss. I even told myself multiple times not to get the gloss. I did anyway. But luckily I had this bottle. It's older, but lying around, so I was able to fix it, and that white milky situation was able to go away. Now, one thing I would also recommend is make sure you get all of the excess. If you can see white, it's going to dry with a film. I don't know whether it's because there's still some of the gloss mixed in here. I didn't quite clean the container out like I should have. It's not a bad thing. It's nowhere near as much as it was with just the straight gloss. But just make sure you pick up matte Mod Podge. 3 parts water, 1 part Mod Podge, and 3 parts dish soap. So to recap on what I did, I picked these up at the dollar store. There's no measurements on there. I just poured whatever the amount of Mod Podge that I wanted in there, marked a line to where the Mod Podge was, filled it up 3 times over with water to that line, and then added my 3 drops of dish soap. This is not a leak-proof container. I would recommend getting one of those. If I tilt this to the side, it does run out. This was the container that my Air Max airbrush pot came in, so I was not expecting it to be waterproof or whatever, but it is nowhere near anything. So don't use what I used. Use something that is a waterproof container that will help prevent spills and whatnot. And then you just need to, every time you go to use, give it a good shake and you're ready to go. Same thing with this. If you're going to use it, stir it up, get it ready to go, because sometimes the Mod Podge will try and separate, and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. So just make sure you always stir it, just like paints. Mix your paints up before you use them. Saves you a lot of hassle. But that is it. Go out, make yourself stuff. This is probably the most inexpensive stuff you can get, because this bottle of Mod Podge was $4.47 at Hobby Lobby, and we all know how expensive Hobby Lobby is. So I think that you can get this at Walmart for like $3 something, and that's it. And I'm sure you've got a water or a container lying around the house that you're not going to use anymore, and it will make your scenery look so much better. So you can see here, on camera it just looks kind of tan, but it is a little like a milky, it may go away once it completely dries. It is kind of chilly in here, so I may bring it into the house and let it dry. But that's it. These stones, not going anywhere. They are locked in place. It is amazing stuff. And as far as like your grass tufts that you're going to put on here or put on your dioramas, you can use just straight Mod Podge. Don't dilute it or anything like that. Just put it down there. Good. And if you really want that extra step, you can spray the scenic glue right over top of it, and it will lock it in place. It'd be perfect. But remember, guys, what is the number one motto? It's the only motto, but what's the motto on this channel? Don't just be an average builder. Be a not so average one. Go out, push your boundaries. I'd never made this stuff before, not even remotely. But I saw a video, figured I'd give it a shot. It's super easy, it works. Do it. Bye, guys.